Well, we got a beautiful winter day here, so I thought this was a good forum. I'd like to do it in the pharmacy, but awfully busy when I'm in the pharmacy, so this is the next best thing. Beautiful, beautiful snowy day here. But as a pharmacist, I found that there are 5 barriers that keep people from GLP-1 therapy or the benefits of GLP-1 therapy. And I gotta tell you, I'm not big on being on medications, especially injectables. I've got my reservations about a lot of medications out there right now, but as a pharmacist, I cannot deny the benefits I'm seeing with these medications. But the 5 barriers that are keeping people from the benefits of these are, number 1, cost. Stigma of being on a weight loss medication, and misinformation is number 3. Misinformation about the medication, fear of injection, and fear of being on this stuff forever. There's a lot of information out there. People just get these quick clips of information from a friend or on the internet, and most of them, all of them, are pretty much ill-founded. Some are truths or partial truths or not all the information. But let's look at the first one, cost. Cost is huge. It's number 1. I do see where a lot of state-funded programs are now funding these. That's really good. It's going to help with their 1, weight loss, and 2, those comorbidities or those secondary disease states. There are a lot of online programs now, like Row, or there's some other ones online. You do need to make sure you're getting an online provider that's reputable. So there's a lot out there. They're doing some compounding, and they may or may not be good, but I think you want to make sure you're sticking with the Lilly brand or who's ever manufacturing your particular product, sticking with the big manufacturers. But they do offer lower cost, and I know the administration came out, talked about, hey, we're going to try to lower the cost of these meds, and I think that's starting to implement some of these costs. So they are becoming a little more reasonable, still kind of higher up there, but if you average out maybe their effect on secondary comorbidities or those secondary disease states, in the long run, you might save money. Stigma, number 2. I'm surprised this is as much of an issue as it is. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to be on a diet med, and I was one of them. I didn't want to be on a diet medication, but there's no prize at the end that says, hey, you did it without the medication, or you did it with, or that sort of thing. But there is a stigma associated with that I can't deny. But honestly, if you're talking about your end results and the weight loss, loss of those secondary disease states, hey, deal with the stigma. Most people are coming from kind of somebody that's maybe not as educated on this subject as they should be. Misinformation, this is huge, and you're getting this from a lot of my peers out there, definitely some on the internet. And a lot of what they're saying isn't necessarily false, it's just not quite the full story. Here's an example right here.
Ozempic should not be allowed for weight loss. Mark my words, put them in a time capsule and open it in 15 years. Ozempic has a remarkable weight loss, but what they didn't focus on is that when these people are losing weight, they are losing muscle mass at a way higher rate than they should.
So what she said was not false. It just wasn't the whole story. Yes, you do lose muscle mass. If you're on these medications and your pharmacist or your doctor didn't explain to you that you need to be on a low carb, high protein diet, and you need to be doing resistance training, shame on them. If they didn't tell you that, get a new doctor or pharmacist. But yeah, these medications, she was 100% correct in what she said. You'll lose muscle mass. But the other side of that story is if you're exercising, if you're doing resistance training, if you're eating a high protein diet, you can almost mitigate that muscle loss down to zero. And that's according to studies that were done. That's just not me coming up with that. So it's kind of like an analogy would be like driving a car. Yes, if you drive a car, there's a chance you're going to get in a accident. So what do you do to mitigate that? Well, you abide by the speed limit. You put on your seatbelt. You do all those things, and more than likely you're going to get there safe. Yeah, is the chance there that you can get in an accident? Yes, absolutely. But you do everything there to mitigate those. So same thing with these GLP-1s. If you're going to be on them, you got to have the high protein diet. You have to be doing some resistance training. The neat thing about these is when you're doing the diet, this is going to help you be more successful because it's going to make you lose those cravings to eat and that sort of thing. You're going to start seeing results, and there's just going to be a positive feedback mechanism. So misinformation is huge out there, and unfortunately, a lot of people are either giving you misinformation or ill-informed information, or they're not giving you the full story. I like that individual in the last video. She's got a lot of good stuff. I just disagree, or maybe there's a longer video where she gets into it more, but I haven't seen it. Fear of the injection, that's number 4. Yeah, you're putting a needle, it's a subcutaneous injection. Let me tell you, I've given thousands of subcutaneous shots, especially over the last few years with everything that's been going on. And this is a non-event. I mean, your pharmacist, your doctor can show you how to do this in 30 seconds, and it's extremely easy. It's not painful. There's just a stigma of injecting something in your body. What I like to do just real quick is there's like around your belly button, you just kind of draw a U shape, and about an inch or an inch and a half away from your belly button, that's kind of your zone of injectable area. There's other places you can do it on the thigh, that sort of thing, but that's where I personally like to do it. But talk to your doctor, your pharmacist, and make sure you're getting individual information on that from your healthcare provider. The last one is, and this kind of goes under the title of misinformation, is, hey, they say that you're going to be on these medications forever. You can't quit, or you're just going to gain all your weight back. Well, there's some truth to that. Yes, if you just quit and just start eating again, yeah, you're going to gain your weight back. But there's things you can do that we've talked about in some of our other videos about micro-dosing or expanding the frequency. So every 7 days, maybe you're taking it for 2 weeks and that sort of thing. My sister's a great example. She is now taking Zepbound 15 milligrams, and she's doing it every 2 weeks, and it seems to be working for her. There's other information out there where maybe if you're on the tirzepatide, basically the Zepbound, the Wegovy, and you switch to maybe one of the less expensive ones, the semaglutide, or the Ozempic and that sort of thing, if you can get those for cheaper, maybe those will work. They don't quite have the weight loss profile that you need to be taking initially, but maybe you can go to a lower cost medication. But there's options out there. There's different options. But fear of being on the medication forever is not a fear. It's not a legitimate fear. I mean, it's a legitimate fear. You can fear that, but there's things you can do to mitigate that. So those are the 5 barriers. And if you get past those 5 barriers, you are really going to be able to enjoy the benefits of this medication. I said it in all my other videos. The improvement in blood pressure, at least this is what's happened to me, the improvement in blood pressure, the sleep apnea, the energy, just a bunch of comorbidities that are just much better for me. The weight loss is great, but it's kind of the secondary thing, even though I thought it was kind of primary at first. But anyway, those are the 5 barriers. I've got weekly videos that I'm putting out on my experience with being on Zepbound. I'm currently on the 2.5, and I put out a weekly video kind of showing where I'm at and what I'm experiencing. So I invite you to subscribe and take a look at that. And hey, in closing, if something comes out on this where, hey, at some point, hey, people are starting to have problems or cancer or something like that, I'm going to be the first guy to say, hey, look, we need to get off these. But that really hasn't been the case. GLP-1s have been out for quite some time. Ozempic, it's been out there for a while. I think I started dispensing it back in like 2017. So it's been a little bit of time, and there's been a lot of study on these. So there's some interesting stuff with GLP-1 and Alzheimer's. I made a video on that. You can take a look at that right here. But other than that, subscribe, and thanks for listening.